Tony had been infected with HIV, and he vowed to infect as many women as possible. His targets are young women who are attracted to his wealth. He regularly does giveaway on social media, and this attracted more girls to his inbox, and he would send them airtime and money. Amaka was one such girl. She was 24 years old, fresh out of University of Port Harcourt, and desperately searching for a job. When she saw Tony's Instagram page, she was really impressed by his lavish lifestyle, with pictures of expensive vacations and fancy cars. When Tony messaged her, Amaka was excited. A man with such wealth taking interest in her felt like a dream. Days later, they were chatting like old friends. Tony showered her with compliments, airtime, and money. He seemed like a perfect gentleman, very kind and generous. Tony invited Amaka to Lagos the next week, and she agreed. When she arrived in Lagos, Tony took her to his apartment in Lekki. He treated her like a queen. They talked, laughed, shared drinks, and eventually ended up in his bedroom, and they had unprotected sex. The next morning, Amaka woke up to find Tony acting strange. He was just angry for no reason. The sweet man from last night was gone. He barely responded to Amaka whenever she tried to talk to him, and this made Amaka felt very uncomfortable in his house. She felt hot, and the next day, she went back to Port Harcourt. Weeks after being with Tony, Amaka sat in a small clinic, staring at a result that says she is HIV positive. The weight of the news crushed her. She replayed every moment of that night with Tony. When she left the hospital, her sadness turned into anger, and she called Tony, but his line was not available. When she tried to message him on WhatsApp, she realized Tony had blocked her everywhere, including on Instagram and Facebook. This made her more angry, and she thought of why she should bear the burden of the pain alone. And she decided to retaliate by intentionally infecting as many men as possible. Amaka changed over the next few days. She started posting sexy pictures of herself on Instagram and Facebook. Many men sent her messages. She replied with playful comments and giving out her phone number freely. Any man that asked her to come over, she would agree to visit, and before she leaves, she would make sure she had sex with them. She doesn't allow her victims use protection. When they do, she would pretend it hurt too much, and she would ask them to remove it and continue without protection. Amaka was just going from one man to another, infecting them and hurting them emotionally, feeling both pleased and guilty. But she ignored the guilt, believing she had taken revenge and regained control over her life. She became better at manipulating them with her beauty. Months later, Tony, who was once a strong and attractive man, was now very sick and weak. What started as fever became rapid weight loss, constant cough, and night sweat that wouldn't stop. Tony visited a hospital, and the doctor confirmed that his condition had progressed to AIDS, and the doctor called him to his office for a serious conversation. I don't know why people with HIV keep it a secret. You people are too ashamed to seek medical help because you don't want to be judged or rejected by others. Forgetting that silence can prevent you from getting the care and support you need. If you had spoken up and started treatment, the HIV wouldn't have become AIDS. HIV is just a virus that weakens your immune system over time. It is not a death sentence. With treatment, you can live a normal life. But without treatment, the virus progresses to AIDS, which is a late stage where your body can no longer fight off infections. That is the stage you are now. But this could have been avoided if you had started treatment earlier. The doctor's words hit him like a hammer. Tony was heartbroken. He had refused to get help because of his pride and fear of what people would say. Now, he was paying the price for his choices. When he got back home, he thought of all the women he had infected with HIV. He thought of Jessica, Natasha, Bisola, Ruth, Amaka, Justina, Annabelle, Gift, Jennifer, and many other girls who might not even know their HIV status. He realized he had been projecting his pain to others instead of taking responsibility for his actions. That night, he shared a typed open letter on Instagram, pouring his heart out to his followers and addressing everyone he had infected. To those I've wronged, I write this letter with a heavy heart. I am writing not to excuse my actions, but to accept responsibility for them and to warn you before it's too late. I am living with AIDS now. My health got worse because I refused to seek help when I should have. I was too proud, too ashamed, and too afraid of what people would say. But that shyness has brought me to this point. A point I wish none of you will ever reach. HIV and AIDS are not the same. HIV is the virus, and with treatment, you can live a long, healthy life. But if you ignore it, like I did, it progresses to AIDS, where your immune system fails, leaving you weak to illness that can kill you. Please, if you have had any encounter with me, go to the hospital and get tested immediately. Do not let fear or shame hold you back. There are medications that can stop HIV from becoming AIDS, but you must act quickly. To those living with HIV, I urge you, don't spread more pain. Don't infect people. Don't let anger control you like it did to me. If you are already infected, start treatment immediately. Thinking about what people will say will not save your life. Only treatment will save your life. And to people who are not HIV positive, I also want to advise you to always use protection in all your relationships. It only takes one mistake to change your life forever. I regret the pain I've caused. I hope this letter serves as a warning and a call to action. Do not wait until it's too late. Sincerely, Tony. He posted it on Instagram and the open letter went viral. People had strong reactions, some feeling angry, some understanding and thoughtful. Many commented, some criticizing Tony's action, while others admiring his honesty. Amaka sat on her bed, scrolling through her phone when she saw Tony's post. Her heart beat faster. She felt a mix of anger and guilt. Tony, who had hurt her deeply, was now seeking forgiveness. His words made her realize she had been spreading pain just like him. For the first time, Amaka was forced to confront her own actions and the pain she had been carrying. The next day, Amaka decided to visit a hospital. She wanted to know more about the virus, about the life she is now living. Sitting opposite the doctor, she listened as he explained. He told her stories of people living normal lives with HIV, raising families, and even finding love again. For the first time, Amaka felt hopeful. Amaka, the doctor said gently, your story doesn't have to end here, but you have to make a choice. Do you want to heal or keep hurting? Her eyes filled with tears as she nodded. She was ready to start treatment. Meanwhile, Tony, weak and on bed, kept getting messages from people inspired by his open letter. Some thanked him for raising awareness, while others shared their own HIV struggles. Then, one message caught his attention. It was from Amaka. You hurt me in ways I never thought you could, she wrote. You destroyed my innocence, my trust, and my future. But your letter made me realize something. I've been doing the same to others. I've hurt men who had nothing to do with what you did to me. I don't know if I will ever forgive you, but I want you to know that I'm choosing to stop this cycle. I've started treatment and I'm going to use my story to help others. Tony read the message over and over again, tears streaming down his face. He replied with a simple, heartful response. Thank you, Amaka. Your courage gives me hope. Amaka began sharing her journey online, using her social media platforms to educate others about HIV. She spoke about the importance of testing, the power of treatment, and the dangers of revenge. Her openness resonated with young people, especially women, who saw a reflection of themselves in her story. She became a voice to those too afraid to speak up. Her newfound purpose led her to join an NGO focused on HIV awareness and prevention. She traveled to schools and communities, speaking to students and parents about the virus, the stigma, and the need for safe practice. Each time she stood before a crowd, she felt a sense of healing. Months later, Tony's health became worse. He felt an overwhelming urge to make amends one last time. He reached out to Amaka, asking if she would meet him in Lagos, and Amaka agreed, reluctantly. When she came to Lagos days later, she was shocked when she arrived at Tony's apartment. The man she once knew was now very sick and weak. He was extremely skinny and struggled to sit up when she walked in. "I wanted to see you," Tony said. "Not to ask you for forgiveness. I don't deserve that. But to thank you. You've done what I was too late to do. You turned your pain into something meaningful." Amaka was speechless. She didn't know what to say. "I want you to promise me something," Tony continued. "Keep telling your stories. Keep helping people. Make sure no one else has to go through what we did." Amaka nodded, tears streaming down her face. For the first time, she saw the broken man behind the monster, and a part of her heart softened. A week later, Tony passed away. His death was in the news, and people started talking about HIV and AIDS again. Amaka was asked to speak at his funeral. In front of a big crowd, she told her story, not just about the pain and hurt, but about how she stayed strong and hopeful. "HIV doesn't define who we are," she said. "It's how we choose to live with it that matters." Tony made terrible mistakes, but in the end, he chose to make amends. That's a lesson for all of us, to take responsibility and make better choices before it's too late. The crowd applauded her, and Amaka felt a sense of peace. Tony's death wasn't the end, it was a beginning. She dedicated her life to help people understand HIV better and encourage them to stay strong despite their challenges. And in her heart, she carried the memory of a man who had wronged her, but also taught her one of life's most important lessons. Pain can either destroy us or transform us. The choice is ours. In life, we all face pain, but pain is not the end. It's a choice to rise, to grow, and to help others. Let's choose healing over revenge, hope over hopelessness, and love over anger.